everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Three Rivers Financial Wellness Podcast. It's Ashley and Austin today.
How's it going?
We're very excited. We have a topic that we're going to talk about that we work with people on a lot, which is basically we have money in public, but we're broke in private. So how do we make sure that we are balancing what that looks like and doing better with our money and not worrying so much about what our public appearance is when it comes to money? So, Austin, you have a story or an experience in this with a member or an imaginary member, allegedly?
Yeah, I mean, I actually do have a story. I obviously won't share specifics or anything, but I remember working with this member who they were doing a ton of home improvements. That was the big thing. And we see this all the time. And to some degree, like, home improvements are needed, right? You have to keep your roof maintained. You have to keep your HVAC maintained. You want to keep your house modern. But a lot of times I think what we run into with that is that people feel like they want their house to look a certain way for people more so than they want it to look a certain way for, resale value or for things like that. And sometimes we even can get in the trap of what we're really doing it for versus what we will say to ourselves of why we're doing it. So sometimes we may even, I'm doing this for the value, or I'm doing this for this, and kind of justify. Not that those are always bad reasons, those can be great reasons, but they had accrued quite a bit and they were financing all this using credit cards. So then you rack up $40,000 in credit card debt, and now you have to pay that all back with 27% interest. It was actually the second time that had happened, and we had done like a consolidation loan. Paid it all down to zero, and then it got racked back up. Mm-hmm. We did one more consolidation loan. That was one where it was a really difficult conversation to sit there and say, like, look, we don't want to like just throw loans at you because that's not helping you.
Right.
Right. Like doing another personal loan or another consolidation loan is not actually solving for the problem that you have. We had that conversation. They paid down the consolidation loan that we did, and they've kept their credit card balances low. So definitely success there.
That's a confetti moment.
Yes, it is a confetti moment. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me more about that conversation, because that is super difficult for really trying to push somebody on like, hey, we've helped you a couple times, but this is really not good behaviors and habit.
How it started, first of all, is understanding, like, when somebody comes to us with credit card debt, our first goal isn't just like, you got credit card debt, we'll just like throw it into a loan. Like, I want to understand, as part of the Know Your Now, our first pillar, which is I want to understand, like, what is that debt? What is it comprised of? What's the reasoning and behind it? Did it happen in 1 month? Did it happen in 3 months? Did it happen over the course of 5 years? Because that's also important too. Sometimes it's like, I had this crazy thing where my roof went out and then my water heater went out. Like, and sometimes people just like, I literally have to have hot water. So sometimes there's a very specific, story where they were used for emergencies, and sometimes this has been accrued over the course of a long time. So for me, when I'm sitting with members, and what a lot of our team will do is we want to understand, first of all, like, what's the breakdown and buildup of that. We don't need to know 72 cents of it was on McDonald's, right? But like, we need to know, like, generally how that happened. So that was kind of the first side of the conversation. Once we uncover, it was this, and it was adding a second story, and it was, redoing our bathroom, and it was redoing our kitchen, stuff like that. Once again, great things, totally support those things, but if you allow those things to just become credit card swipes, then you're just going to pay for that for a long time, and maybe your house looks great, but you're still paying for it. So there's no real like increase in value or like keeping your home up to date once you account for the fact that you have to pay 26% interest rate on everything that you did. So we kind of started with that. What's it comprised of? What's the breakdown? Why? I think is a really important
my big question too,
like,
yeah.
Why now necessarily for these improvements? Not saying that those improvements are wrong, but just I want to understand why. And then once we understand why, it's kind of being able to sit there and say, like, hey, these aren't bad, but how can we prepare and plan for them? So we kind of looked at that, like, not eliminating what you're wanting to do to your house, because that's awesome that you want to do that to your house, but making it to something that you're in control of. Kind of the point of the topic is these are individuals that made great money. So they had the capacity. They didn't have some like crazy massive house. Like, they had the capacity to just pay for these improvements themselves if they could just delay a little bit of time to build up some money, because they're gonna build up money quick. Especially once we were able to take care of, or once they were able to take care of the unsecured debt.
I think it's interesting because there is a little bit of, you need your house to kind of fit into your neighborhood and kind of keep up. But where is that line between like, the quote of I'm keeping up with my neighbors and the Joneses versus this is actually an improvement that we really need. So what do you think, like, how did those conversations go when you get to the why? Do most people really understand why they're doing things, or is it surface level, I mean, my house needs it?
When I've had these conversations, most of the time people, it's very like simple in their minds. Like, oh, like to your point, like I'm just doing something to my house, or I'm just updating my bathroom. Like they don't necessarily think of it as is there an emotional reason behind it? And I think a lot of times it's because a lot of times the emotional reasons behind the actions that we take, we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
And that's outside of money too. A lot of times we're taking actions and doing things out of emotions that we're not even like aware that they're there. Sometimes asking the why question, people maybe like first they just kind of give a simple answer, but then once we really dive into the conversation, like, okay, why now? Why this improvement? What made you think of doing that? What pushed you? What was the catalyst for you doing that? And then I think sometimes people start to uncover a little bit more. Maybe it's still not even at those questions to some deep emotional level. And it's not always some deep emotional level, but maybe it's not even a keep up with the Joneses. Maybe it's, I love to host. I love to host at my house, and I want my house to look good for people. It's not even necessarily about the neighbors. Maybe it's about like friends and family coming over. And I totally get that. Some people love to host. How can you create a environment where you can host without destroying your finances or without being in a ton of debt at the same time? So it's not that they're in conflict with one another. It's just that we have to find a responsible way to do both.
The other one that I see a lot, the rich in public, poor in private, is with youth sports specifically. I've been going to my nieces in their softball tournaments lately, and maybe it's not just moms. It's probably dads too. But what I've witnessed lately is like softball moms, and they want like all the things. Everybody has like the tent of the plastic thing so the wind doesn't get them, and they have snackle boxes and
even the uniforms.
Yeah,
and you have to have like 4 uniforms and different bags, and like it always cracked me up. Like when I had siblings in travel sports, and it's like, oh, we need the purple with the white sleeves, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
Well, I've seen though,
cool.
like, and my brother and sister-in-law, I'm not trying to put them on blast here, but like they're in it, right? So like they've told both of their girls, like, if softball's your thing, we're willing to do it. But they are there. It's a lot of money. It's very expensive. Travel ball in general. And so, like, what does that look like, and why are you doing it? And are your girls, they're young, so it's, are they really going to play softball in college? Maybe. Will they make money off of it? Maybe, but maybe it's too early to tell. So it's like, well, you're making this really big investment. Is it the right thing, or are we doing it because all their friends are playing and we won't tell them no? And it depends on the situation, obviously, of if that's the case. But hopefully they're in a position where they are able to do that. There are a lot of families who really shouldn't be doing that, but they won't say no to their child. It's really hard to say no to your kids when they really want to do something. And so I've had a couple of different really hard conversations of, well, do you have to say yes to that for your kids? Or cars is another one. It's another big one that we see at Three Rivers a lot, is like, oh, my kid's turning 15. Like, it's almost time to buy them a car. Like, do you have to buy them a car? And a lot of people just say, well, yeah. And I'm always challenging people like, well, is that really your responsibility? What would happen if your child has some responsibility in that? Is that what you want or not? And obviously, it's up to the parent as to what the right answer is for them. It's different for every family. But I think exploring the questions and your answers to it as a parent specifically.
As the one who gets to make the decision. That I think sometimes parents have like abdicated, like, you get to make the decision.
Yes.
You are a parent.
Yes. So I think some of that, it's like, well, we've got to have the Instagram post or Facebook or whatever the social media is. There's a little like societal pressure to keep up because you want the perfect photo, which is very interesting to me, what dynamics are happening.
I think not only that, but sometimes, I know the topic of our episode is rich in public, broke in private, but sometimes it's even like, I remember growing up and we went to Leo, a community that tends to have a little bit more economic means. But I grew up outside of Leo, and there were frankly, a lot of times that we were struggling financially. I remember times where there was financial crisis. I remember my parents fighting about money. I remember there being situations that were like we were scared about what the future would hold. And we only saw a limited glimpse of that as the kids, but you can feel it in the home. And I remember like my mom always wanted us to have like a great Christmas. Like she always wanted us as kids to have a great Christmas. Like that was just so important to her. I didn't know at the time, but like meanwhile, like to create a great Christmas for us, like she was borrowing in order to provide a great Christmas for us. And so that's even a case of like it wasn't even necessarily, I think, about like other people seeing what we were getting or even about like social media or anything. I think that for her was about like, we're going to a place where everyone gets everything that they ever wanted. And so we as kids see that. And even though we never expect or ask for that, like she also wanted us to have that experience of like, oh, when Christmas is like a super exciting day and we get all these things. And she wanted to like, and obviously at the time we would have probably thought it was like Santa, but like it was like, for her, that was really important for her, was for us to get, so it wasn't even like a rich and public thing, but it was more about providing an experience. I would have never wanted her to do that. And I think that she, like, you know, obviously hindsight, like now my mom's in a great financial place, but it's just like, it's a different way of looking at things. Like she could have also provided that experience in other ways. But to think about that is the reason for the decision making wasn't necessarily keeping up. It was wanting your kids to have that experience too. And I think the same can be said a lot of times with travel sports. It's not always rich families. You know, a lot of times it's families that don't have money, but like, oh, like you and your friends that have money get to do this. Like, I don't want to tell you no just because you were born in a family that doesn't have the same means, so they figure it out or they borrow or they use programs and things like that to be able to achieve it.
For my nieces specifically, they do all the fundraisers, and so I'm the aunt that gets suckered in, right? I buy all the mums and the candy bars and all the things.
Candles, newspapers, magazines.
But I always say this is like one of the things, like kids come around my neighborhood and they're actually selling the thing for their fundraiser, I'll buy it. If my sister-in-law or my brother asks me to buy it, I won't do it. To me, the lesson learned is, are the kids putting in the effort for that task in that sport or whatever it is? And if they are, then it's important to them, and so I'm willing to help.
Yep.
And so it's been very interesting to see kind of the reaction to adults who, you know, I'm friends with, but I'm like, well, I mean, if your kid's not interested in selling that thing, then I'm not interested in buying it, because that means it's not very important to them.
Right.
So
I think that's a good idea. I kind of like that.
I don't know.
I don't get asked
It's
to
some hard conversations.
in a lot of fundraisers, but like I like that idea.
Yeah. Coming soon, I'm sure, Austin.
Yeah, we'll see. If once I get to the age where all of my friends are having kids and everything like that, and then pretty soon they're going to want my pocketbook.
Yeah. What are you thinking as far as a challenge? So like we've got this idea of, if we're broke in private, how do we like prevent ourselves from getting to that stage or getting out of that? What do you think?
Here would be my challenge, and it's similar to what we talk about in other episodes, but I want everyone to think about what they're doing with their money right now. Not what they wish they were doing, not what they think they should be doing. Like, what are you literally doing with your money?
What's your now?
What's your now? Yep.
Yeah.
And then I want you to reflect and think about, why is that your now? Why is that what you're doing? Not, oh, I'm just fixing up the bathroom. No, maybe, to be fair, maybe sometimes it's like literally that simple. Like, I just literally need to fix my bathroom. That job needs done. And that may be your case, and it's maybe that simple. Mm-hmm. But reflect a little bit about why, just for the sake of really understanding a deeper level as to why you're doing the thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. Behavior does not change because we hope that it changes. It changes because we understand the root of it, and it changes because we work on the root of it. And unfortunately, until we get to that level, change it's very rare without that. So that would be my challenge.
Deep reflection. Why are you spending the money the way that you're spending it now?
Yes.
I love it. Thanks again for joining us for another episode of the podcast. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Three Rivers Financial Wellness Podcast. While we're excited that you join us on this journey of financial wellness, we do need to give you a short disclaimer. This podcast is for informational purposes only and isn't intended as financial, tax, or investment advice. Be sure to consult your own experts before making financial decisions. Three Rivers is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal housing lender.